Hi, my bad, sorry that took so long. Unfortunately, what you're seeing before you is not Clip Studio Paint. And if you guys were on YouTube, the thumbnail would have spoiled it. Is that a pro or a con for YouTube? Who's to say? I wasn't told I'd be tech support today. Who said I need to even rely on you at all, bot boy? I was watching TV and sipping some banana milk. And then I was scrolling Twitter. And then I saw a mutual of mine with a really great 3D model. And I was like, I can't let this happen. I have to do something about this right now, so I opened up Blender. Botcom boy, get off of YouTube. What are you doing? I don't even have the stream fully set up right now. Forgot how good your starting soon is. Yay! Oh, I forgot to turn on Bagel. Get blended. No, I'd rather not. Here, hold on. Let me turn the Bagel on. Let me give you guys Bagel accessibility. I can only remember to do that once a day. Anyways. Wait, did that show up here? Whatever, who cares? Alrighty. So, I have... Hold on, let me like... Actually, hold on, I'm going into studio mode. Because wouldn't it be so cool if you guys saw my Blender Donut tutorial with me, and we all watched it together? So if I can figure out properly how to do this, it would be kinda epic. Be kinda nifty, kinda cool. Oh, give me a second. Why is theater mode not theater moding? Or studio mode? Why is this happening? Well, whatever. What's the point of studio mode then if you guys are just gonna see it anyways? I have a little guy like this up in the corner. I crop him down. And he resides up here. Sure, whatever. There. Pin a double stream. Truly, things are things are up to happening now. Hi, Solar. It has been a second. I'm doing all right. I felt this fury in me. It's fire in my heart. Now I'm learning Blender. Don't mind me, I just pushed down the C key on my piano. Hold on, I gotta put my hair up in some way or another. Not the best way to put it up, but it'll work. Long time no see, Pinna, so much. So I've changed my name a month ago, but you should still recognize me. It's Agent Hotman! Of course I recognize you! Welcome back to the stream! This is perfect timing, actually. Just finished my after hours work, Excel sheets and data and emails and whatnot. I can art along now. Let's go! Okay, Donna Squidness is getting killed. I fear. It's time for me to... Wait a second, if I do that, that's no good. I can't do that. Wait, then how am I gonna see chat? Wait, hold on. I have to minimize. Wait a second, no, that can't work either. Now hold on, I can fix this. No, that's not what I wanted! Okay, whatever, sure. Okay. Alright, that's fine. Before I continue, what's your GPU? Why does that matter? Anyways.
Animations, visual effects, game assets, or practically any. Let's begin. First, go to blender.org. Status, this view, this window right here is your 3D viewport, and it's where you'll spend probably 90% of your time because it is the 3D world. So you can see that we have 3 objects here. We've got a camera, we've got a cube, and we've got a lamp. And when we click on it, you can see it's selected because it has the yellow outline.
Am I streaming learning Blender?
The default cube of
no, I'm streaming mastering Blender. Just so we're clear.
Course, and replace it with something else.
Oh, no
so
more,
we can do that
no
by
more.
going up to the add menu up here.
Add.
Or by remembering the hotkey, which is Shift A. So Shift A for add. So usually the one you're looking for is underneath mesh. So these are called mesh. Your primitives, and it's what you use to start something when you're looking to make an object. Like if you're going to make a chair, you might start with a cylinder as the chair leg and then build out.
You're going to tell me to add a torus.
But the one I'm sure you're all very curious. You want to click it. It's the monkey. So let's just click the monkey. Why does Blender have a monkey? Well, fun fact, every 3D software has its own little random complex object because it's useful to test things like shaders or complexities of scenes. So 3ds Max has the Utah teapot, Houdini has the toy, and I think pig's head. Blender has the monkey, and it's actually called the Suzanne monkey head, which you can see in the top left there, named after the orangutan.
Happened right when I turned the monkey's head towards me. Oh my gosh. Alina Saichin, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome! Hello everyone! How was your stream? What were you up to? Let me get you a shout out. Get jump scared? Frick, no, I don't want this. Does that work? Cool, perfect. Awesome. Reading through John Boy's 220. That's too many numbers. A lot of numbers. I was too fast. I'm just speedy like that. I'm built different. Anyways, I am King Pinna. I'm a Magna Pinna squid. I stream for the squids. Right now, I've decided to learn Blender because I've become enraged at the fact that I don't have a 3D model of my own. So I've decided to take matters into my own hands. Anyways, feel free to raid and run if you need to rest. I appreciate you being here. Oh, hi, Eric. What are we blending? Suzanne the monkey. Probably. Been following you for months, so I left on the opportunity to raid you. Ah, well, welcome. Welcome to my late night stream. Where out of a fury of rage, I've decided to learn Blender. I don't like Suzanne. Why? Whee! Okay, hold on. What do you mean late night? It's only 12 a.m. Oh, you people with your wrong times. I basically just woke up. Man. Reminds me of the scary monkey teacher from Gumball. I've never heard her referred to as the scary monkey teacher. She's not that scary. Good morning. Hi, Red Widow. Actually, it's like 9 p.m. But you're close. You know, if the PM was an AM, you'd be correct. I'm learning Blender. Look, I can rotate the object. But you knew who I was talking about, though. No, I just think it's curious how you've called her the scary monkey when I've never heard her referred to that in that way, so. You know, it's just interesting. It's something that maybe we want to get into at some point, but we don't have to. Pinna, should I make French toast for dinner? Yeah. I'm a big breakfast for dinner believer. Actually, no, I'm just anti-breakfast. Being rude to a year subscriber. Have you been subscribed for a year? Pickled Taco Tray, thank you so much for the follow! Welcome. Welcome to Squid Streaming. Anyways, it's time. We're locking in.
Random piece of trivia. So let's get a better look at it. And to that, we need to orbit, which you can do by on your mouse there, your scroll wheel.
I already know how to do this.
That is called your middle mouse button. If you push that in and then drag around, that is now orbit.
Did I miss anything awesome in like the last, I don't know, 6 months or so? Nah.
Now, for my laptop
look at her, she's smiling.
Because you realize you don't have a mouse. How are you going to orbit around? First of all, probably a good idea to get a mouse for 3D work. It will come in handy. But in a pinch, you can get by without it just by up here in the top right-hand corner, this little gray circle, anywhere in the gray section. If you just left-click, drag on that, that will do the exact same thing. Or if you want, you can go to Edit Preferences, and then underneath Input,
I don't need to know this.
3 button. 5, but since this is a tutorial, I'll make it nice and big so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so that's orbiting around with the middle mouse button. If we want to zoom in, we can do that just by scrolling in and out. We could also do it by going up to the magnifying.
What's gonna happen is I'm gonna get cocky. And I'm gonna be like, well, this is all like beginner, like this is all obvious stuff, and then something's gonna happen and I'm not gonna understand anything anymore. Render mode.
So one thing you might notice looking at this is that it's not very pretty, right?
It's not.
Kind of got this flat, bland, gray lighting over
well,
everything.
actually,
and that's because
that's
this
kind of
state
rude.
right now is called viewport shading. And it's kind of a lightweight, optimized way to view the scene just as you're building it. But if you want to create a final pretty image, that's called rendering.
Icarus,
and you can
flying
actually
too close to the sun.
into rendered mode by going up
Seems
here into
Daedalus,
the
a
top
little master
right-hand
crafter over here.
We're currently in the
had some wax wings of his own.
If we go 2 across,
I wasn't paying attention.
You should see rendering it. But if you want to create a final pretty image, that's called rendering. And you can actually switch into rendered mode by going up here into the top right-hand corner. You can see we're currently in the viewport shading mode. If we go 2 across, you should see rendered view mode. So if we click that, your computer might stall for a quick second whilst it loads it in. You can see it's now different. We have directional light. We have shadow cast across the monkey.
I'll go back up.
So it's now currently being lit by this lamp up here.
We're not going to touch that while I stream, I think.
And just kind of like move it around. You can see it's kind of hard to focus on. Like it's always exactly not in the right view. And that's because we are centered on our
Remember when I talked about your GPU? Surely GPU doesn't matter for 3D software.
Else. So we could do that one of 2 ways. One, if you're on a laptop, you could use the little move tool there.
Not on a
do that.
freaking
or everyone
laptop.
else, shift middle mouse click, drag, that will do the same thing. So middle mouse is for orbiting, shift middle mouse is for pan to change your view to something else. Okay, so I want to move my light because it's too moody. I want to be able to see the monkey's face.
I think your PC case matters the most.
So
well, mine has an airbrush Halo critter on it, so I think it's pretty neat.
You could go over to the left-hand corner here and you've got the move tool. When you click that, you can see that the selected object, the lamp, has this gizmo, it's called, with these axes on it. And if I just clicked and dragged on any of those arrows there, you can see I can move it along any of those axes.
Wait, what?
I can also just click on that white circle
I wasn't paying attention.
That will just move tool. My light because it's too moody. I want to be able to see the monkey's face there. So to move an object, you could do it one of 2 ways. One, you could go over to the left-hand corner here and you've got the move tool. When you click
Why is his far away and mine is on the character?
Has this gizmo, it's called, with these axes on it.
Things are already going really poorly for me.
If I just clicked and dragged on any of those arrows there, you can see I can move it along any of those axes. I could also just click on that white circle there and that will just freehand drag it depending on my view. But it's kind of tedious. Every time you want to move something, you have to like go to that tool and then find the arrows.
Oh, he's moving the light?
So actually, most people in Blender prefer to use the hotkeys. So we just keep it in the default selection state here.
Yeah!
And instead, remember the hotkey, which is G for grab.
G for grab.
Now, I just tapped the key, and you'll notice as I move my cursor that it's now attached to my cursor. My cursor isn't even actually close to it. In fact, my cursor could be on the other side of the screen.
It's true.
I can tap G,
check this out, gang.
and it will move it. And at first, this is kind of awkward. You're like, why is it working this way? But once you get used to it, you realize it's actually handy because you don't have to spend all this time like navigating your cursor to something.
I'm really bored.
Left click. So again, if I want to cancel something, just right click. If I want to confirm the movement, left click. But let's say I wanted to move it along an axis. Like, you know, I like these arrows here and I want to be able to move it on just a specific axis.
Well, it seems like I can just
I can do that whilst I'm in that grab state as well. So after I have hit the G key to grab it, I can then tap the letter of the axis that I want to move it on. So if you don't know, in the real world and in the 3D software, there are 3 axes because there's 3 dimensions. There's the X axis, which I can move by hitting the X key, the Y axis to move it back and forth along the Y axis with the Y key, or the Z axis to move it
I'm not gonna remember all that.
on the Z axis. So you can remember those letters.
I'm not going to, but I appreciate it.
The method that I actually prefer to use is whilst you're in that G state, if you just hold down the middle mouse button and then pull out, you can see you get this like gray line that pulls out from the center. And then if you just drag out and move around,
that's way better.
Snap it to the nearest axis, which again is maybe an odd way to work, but it's actually really handy because it means you don't have to think of the letter and locate it on your keyboard. I can just tap G to move it and then middle mouse drag
That's way
out,
better.
and then just find that exact axis that I'm looking for. And so it's very fast to just quickly move the lamp exactly where I want it. By the way, if you're finding it hard to remember all of the keyboard shortcuts that I've mentioned, I've actually put together a PDF, a cheat sheet of Blender's most common hotkeys, and you can download that by clicking the link in the description.
I never use middle mouse locking. Well, I am immediately on board with middle mouse locking.
From another 3D software package, you might notice that Blender's hotkeys are different than what you are used to. So if you actually go to
I don't care about that. Let's make a render.
Now let's say, as I am moving around here, I'm like, oh, this looks really good. I've got some nice Rembrandt lighting across the monkey's face. I want to take a photo. I want to take a nice, pretty image.
I don't actually want to do that right now.
Post it on socials.
I think I could understand how to move the camera.
Well, I could take
changing the mate. What the heck does that mean?
Because it's got all these lines all over.
Adding a cone.
Right? We don't like it. The way you take
I think I can do that.
Pretty image in
Scale.
Blender is to do a render. So you could do that.
I'm moving on to the next video.
Greg, we need to talk.
No time, got sales calls to summarize.
You really need to switch to Monday CRM. It has built-in AI that some.
Where's my skip ad button?
Now we know how Blender functions. Let's start building that donut. So, as
where'd my
before,
quality go?
Let's, well, first of all, just to repeat, make sure you're working with a new scene. Completely new scene. Don't want any remaining monkey heads lying around.
No remaining monkey head.
Let's begin fresh slate. And let's delete our default cube just with the delete key. And let's replace it with a new object. You might remember the hotkey for that is Shift A. And as I mentioned before, you usually want what is underneath mesh because these are your primitives.
Shift A.
So we want to start with something that most resembles what it is we're building.
Torus.
If it was a house, you might start with a cube. If it was a vase, you might start with
a cylinder. It's the torus.
In our case, we want the donut-shaped one. Okay. Although mathematicians call it a torus for some reason. So let's add that.
Ew.
Now if I zoom in by scrolling up, we can see we have something resembling a donut. It looks like a pretty weak looking donut, you know, very flimsy. Looks like the
it's not an attractive
before it's cooked,
donut.
when they just drop it into the vat and it's just this little crispy thing. So immediately after you do some actions in Blender, you have options to change it. And the options are hidden down here in the bottom left-hand corner. You see a little box. And if you click that box,
I don't see that.
See options. And look, we can change the dimensions of our torus.
What?
Now, something to note is that these options in Blender
I think
only
that's here.
appear
I think it's on my side.
No,
that's on his. Wait a second.
If you do so immediately after you do some actions in Blender, you have options to change it. And the options are hidden down here in the bottom left-hand corner. You see a little box. And if you click that box, you see options.
Excuse me. Why does this always happen to me? I swear every time I try to learn a program, they'd say, "Oh, here, go to the magic window that just doesn't exist on your UI for some reason." It happens to me every single time. This happens in After Effects and Premiere. I don't know if it's happened in Clip Studio Paint. I know how to navigate Clip Studio Paint. It goes away if you click anything. Wait, what? Shift A. Taurus. There she is. Okay. I don't want that many segments. Probably that's good. No, 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 no. Woohoo! Woo! That's a donut. Wee! That's a good donut.
And look, we can change the dimensions of our torus. Now, something to note is that these options in Blender only appear immediately after you have done that action. If you do another action, like say deselect your torus by mistake, it's gone, right? Because Blender has assumed you have moved on. You've accepted the state of your donut, and this is the one you want, right? Now, if you haven't done anything drastic or changed this object in some severe way, you can temporarily bring it back by hitting F9. I never actually remember that hotkey. I just remember that immediately after I have added an object, if I want to tweak it, now's my chance before I move on to something
I'm getting
else.
angry.
Okay. So we could change, the size of it here. We can also change the resolution. I'll use the term resolution loosely. To make it higher or lower fidelity. And a mistake that a lot of beginners make, and
it's a donut.
This is the exact mistake I made.
It's the donut from Pokemon.
2003 when I started learning Blender, is they go, well, I need a realistic looking donut, so I guess I need to go really high resolution.
I'm actually going to do like no.
One of my first projects was
very
for
low
a
resolution.
high school film project, and I wanted to have a close-up of a face. Didn't realize faces were going to be difficult, but I went really high poly, and then it was just an absolute nightmare to work with. So the reason you don't want this is that
I'm doing
for
20.
starters,
That looks
things
good.
that are high poly are very slow to render, and they're very
We're talking
hard to
N64
work
or
with if you want to
PS1?
tweak the shape of it. But also, as
Well, it
you
depends what the purpose of
learn
this
and you
donut is
grow with
for,
3D,
right?
You'll discover that it is a lot easier to add resolution to something later on, but it is very difficult to take it away if you've already built it into it and you don't need it. So, long way to say, what we actually want is to have as few polys, these are called polys, as you can get away with. So I'm going to go with 32 major and 12 minor. And don't worry that it looks all jagged, because we will fix that
I
in a
want
moment.
this to be a even
now,
number.
The major and minor, this is really up to you.
12.
But I find that something that
I'll
looks,
go to 24.
It's kind of chunky, like a fat donut, just looks really delicious.
I feel like
So I'm
intervals
going
of
with
12
something
is where
around
it's the
about
way to
this
go.
size. Okay. And once I'm happy with this, once I'm ready to click off, I click off, the options are gone, and this is it. This is the donut that I am now working with.
This is my donut.
So how do we make this look higher resolution, less jagged? Well, one way is to use smooth shading. So if you right click with your object selected, go to Shade Smooth. And look at that. This is immediately better. Without getting too technical, this is kind of a fakery. It's sort of like the shader is telling the renderer that this is a really high poly dense mesh when it really isn't. It's just basically kind of like averaging out faces, and anyway, it's very technical, but basically means it's not going to add anything to your render time, but it's going to look smoother. And so this is generally what you want for something that is smooth and organic looking, like we want. If you were rendering like architectural or like hard surfaces, like
yeah, get on with it, bro.
On the counter, you might notice that looking at this, especially if you go side on, that you've got this sort of jagged shape around here,
what's
right?
up with
so
that?
The silhouette is really breaking that illusion that this is a high poly or a smooth looking donut. But thankfully, rather than adding all of that complex density into the mesh itself and then making it hard to remove later on, there is another way through modifiers. So if we go over here to our properties, right? This very confusing, lots of options.
No, I've done this before.
Click on the wrench, and this is the section called modifiers. And this is one of those object dependent things. So if you've got your camera selected, you won't see it. So it's only when you've got actual meshes that you might see this. I
don't care about that. Tell me what to do.
So it's much easier to explain if we just add one. So up here, add modifier, and you've got a range of options here that can do a whole number of things. The one that we're looking for is underneath generate.
Mine's thank you so much for the follow.
Subdivision surface. And it is a really
something surface
modifier that you use all the time. In fact, it's so common, it's actually, you can just immediately add it to any object just by hitting Control 1.
Soft body, that's a jellyfish.
We've already got it, so there.
Subdivision
now,
surface.
Some of you might have just discovered that your donut has disappeared. If that is the case, you need to go to Edit, Preferences, and then underneath Viewport, where it's got
my donut's
Subdivision
right
at the
here,
very
she's
bottom,
looking beautiful.
Disable GPU Subdivision.
Look how pretty she is.
Subdivision perform on your CPU instead of your GPU, which is maybe non-existent or not performing.
Also, hi Northern Bear in the YouTube chat.
Disable that, and it should appear.
I can see
but
you.
if it's already working for you, don't disable it. Keep it going.
I shall have you on my overlay.
So what exactly is this doing? Well, it's a lot easier to explain if we look at the shade flat mode, because we're not being tricked by the smooth shading there. If I set this levels viewport to 0, this is our original mesh. This is before we add the subsurface, essentially. When we increase this, you can see that it is adding resolution to our mesh. And the more I increase this viewport levels here, the finer and finer that detail becomes. So to explain it, because this is such a very common modifier, it's kind of important to understand how it's working. You can see that this is these squares here, these are called faces, by the way. And for each one of these faces here, as I add a level, you can see it's becoming 4 faces, right? And then now if I zoomed in on this one face here, if I do another level, that's now become 4 faces. And then if I zoom in again,
okay, I got that. I got it.
Corner, right? Like this. If you add a subsurf modifier, what it's going to do,
it's gonna I got it.
Viewport and levels render. So reminder, this gray area that we operate in is called.
I have a button
viewport.
like that in
the
Live
render
2D.
Is the pretty version. So as an example, you could see if I just turned it off for the viewport, it looks very jagged. But then for my render, increase that to 3.
Stop it!
If I do my render, which you could go up there, and render image, or remember the hotkey F12, you can see that that donut is now smooth, but I go back and you can see it's jagged. So the viewport, you want to generally keep it lightweight, and then the render time, that's where you want to get a really nice looking pretty image. So you often have 2 different levels. In our case, though, I don't really think we need to go beyond 1 for our final pretty image, because this with shade smoothing turned on is good enough. And we're going to be adding more to the scene later on, so we don't want to make it too complex. So this is actually pretty good.
School's in session.
So we have a perfect donut, and that's the problem. It's too perfect. You could spend decades trying to develop a machine in the real world that made a donut this perfect, and you never would. This is so mathematically precise that the eye will always see this as looking fake.
I could probably do it.
I probably learned pretty quickly in 3D that things that are too perfect just look fake. So you
well, what are we going to do about that? It's the brush tool. I know what to do.
Adding variation there, like you see in the real world, because your eye expects to see it. So how do we do that? How do we make this donut look a little more
Wait, I'm in object mode? Is it not object?
I do that by changing the mesh itself. So
when
this
is the
mode
Pinna
that
Bacon
we're in
stream?
right now, where we can
I did a pop and cooking stream.
Objects is called object mode, and I know that because in the top left
I was right. I remember
object mode. But if I click the drop down, you can see I get a number of other options here.
And
these options again will change depending on the object you've got selected. If I've got a lamp, my little light there selected, you can see I've only got object mode. My camera, let's enter into edit mode.
Oh, never mind.
Ooh. Right. Now you can see our mesh, our object has become something that looks weird. It's got a bunch of little points on it with lines and very technical. Well, that's because this is actually what the mesh is made up of. These little points here, which you can click on just by selecting, are called your vertices. The singular term is called vertex. I never say that. I like to just call all of them vertices. I remember this. Regardless of whether it's 1 or 2. Just because
I can do crap like this.
You always get some comments that go, actually, it's called vertex if it is singular. Anyway, so these are called your vertices. And if you have 2 of them joined by a line, that is called an edge. And if you have 4 of them forming a face, then it's called a face. So with these, I can quickly change the shape of my object by using the same hotkeys as before. And if I want to move this, then I would simply tap G, right? And you can see it's now attached to my cursor, and then if I want to confirm its movement, I just do a single left click, and there it is. Now if I go back into object mode, like that, you can see that my mesh has changed. Okay? And by the way, the hotkey for jumping in and out of object and edit mode is just tab. Okay, so you can see it's just toggling between those two modes because it's so common that you want to just quickly change things that it's just easily accessible by that. Now, this is okay, right? But you can see it's like, it's got like some artifacting. It's like, it's not the greatest lump, right? So how do we make it look a little more...
I was pretty happy with the lump.
Natural. Well, I mean, you could, you move one, drag it out, okay, click, and then I move, the next one next to it, right? I'll move that out, and then I'll move this one out a little bit, and then I move this one out. And it's like, okay, well now I've got the thing, but it took me like 5 actions. Ridiculous, right? No one wants to do
Look at my beautiful lump.
Time for that. Thankfully, there is a tool in Blender just for this, and it's called proportional editing, and you can enable it up there in your toolbar. So if you enable that, now
I missed it. What do you say?
G there in your toolbar. So if you enable that, now if I hit G and I move it out, you will see I get a little ring around my cursor there.
How cute!
And that is now changing the mesh around it. Now, a lot of people in my previous tutorials were like, I don't see what's going on. You have to have something selected first, and then when you hit G, you will see.
Well, up in the substance right now.
That little circle.
I mean, when I'm being born from my old spinal column.
Influence, if I scroll up, you can see it's shrinking its circle of influence. If I scroll down, it is expanding its influence. So it's only going to affect what is in that that ring there. Okay. If you are on, if you don't have a mouse with a scroll wheel, you can also change the influence by using page up and page down. And if you don't have page up or page down because you're on a Mac keyboard, then what you would have to do is go to key map and then change your page up and page down to something else just so that you could get around that. But guys, you got to get a mouse. Get a mouse with a scroll wheel. I think they're, 50 cents or just in the nearest landfill somewhere. Get a mouse because it's going to make your life in 3D a lot easier. Okay, so with this, I can now make quick work of lumpy shapes, okay? So I just drag that out. Okay, I've got a little lumpy shape there. Maybe I go down here and I pull this up just by hitting G, moving it up. Okay, so already this is looking a little more natural.
My lumpy little donut.
Because even if we were making a stylized world for a Pixar movie or something like that, you can't have just a spherical looking donut.
Getting a little pointy on some edges. I'm fixing it. I'm working on it.
Just your eye will see it as fake. So very quickly, I'm able to add a little bit of variation to the donut, just all around it, just a little bit over here.
Okay, you need to be fixed.
And you can see that I am just changing my circle of influence depending on what size of a lump I want to make. So I just want to make like a little bit that sticks out. I can make a small circle just by scrolling up like that. And you just want to do that until you get something that looks
the bottom of my donut has been neglected.
I want to make the inner part as well. Maybe just drag that in with a smaller circle. And that's pretty good. Let's just have a look from the top. I might actually just drag that out and make it a little bit more like that.
Oh.
But there you go. That's pretty good for a donut. It's still kind of simple. It's not too detailed, but it's got just enough variation in it that it's more interesting to look at.
That's my donut.
One more thing I forgot to mention. Go back into edit mode with tab. Donuts, when they're sitting in the little vat thing, right?
He's going to have the little line on them.
Half submerged, so then they have to be flipped. But it means that the bit that's nearest to the surface is getting less heat. So essentially what I'm saying is the bit that's around the donut, the circumference of it is usually a little bit flatter. So donuts aren't like perfectly
That's what I was saying.
They're usually a little bit flatter. So what I want to do is I want to select these vertices along here and then I want to shrink them. Now I could go around one by one like this, which is actually what I used to do.
I have a feeling you're going to tell me a better way to do this.
Pre-YouTube days, and there was no tutorials. I would do this if I wanted to select this. Silly, because there's a function, a tool.
I bet there is,
and it is edge select. So if you hold down Alt on your keyboard and then do a single left click on not the points but on the edge, right? This little line here. You can see it's selected all the way around. So it's anything that's connected along that line is now selected. So if I want to shrink this, right?
Yeah, how do I scale that? How do I scale that?
Well, I mean, yeah, you could like move it around, right? We want to shrink it. We want to change the scale of it. So we would use the hotkey S for scale. So S, and I'm going to scale that in. And I actually don't want proportional editing. So I'm going to turn that off and now scale in and just make it a little bit flatter. And there
no,
you go.
proportional.
See,
So O and then
natural,
S.
doesn't it? Looks a little bit closer to what a donut looks like. And by the way, don't worry if yours doesn't look exactly like this, like your lump is a little bit off. Like some people get a little bit too precious with the tutorial. I gotta match exactly everything I do. Like I'm just working on the fly as well. So just make what you think looks good. Maybe you think this is not misshapen enough and you want to add more, go for it, because it might actually turn out better than what mine is. Now, before we move to the next part, how to save. How to save.
I made
Blender,
a beautiful donut.
Very easy. You just go save as, and you just get one file. It's called .blend.
I'm not going to save right now
Very
because I think it's going to show you guys all
extension.
my
Really
files.
pushing the limits of what a file extension can be. That's almost a word, Blender. Anyway, .blend, and that's it. And then next time you open it up, it's exactly like it. It's not like ZBrush where you got like 4 or 5 different ways to save a project.
Oh, and he's just going
or
to
an
tell us to
object.
join the Discord server next video. And then it's going to do an ad that I can't skip because of whatever plugin I have that no longer works.
Did you guys know that
Never
Blender
mind, we're
4.0
in.
had a change that makes it more realistic by default? Or that there's a new technology that is going to expand the uses for 3D exponentially?
I'm not going to show you my dang
Well,
files,
you would
Solar
if you were
Star
on my
Art.
free newsletter.
I don't
called
care.
This Week in 3D.
Don't peddle
You can
your
use very
wares.
easily. So you can name an object by just double-clicking it in the outliner
Oh.
and then just typing in the object. The other way you can name something, I'll just show you the second way. If you select the Taurus 0.001, that's your icing object.
Wait,
if
what?
you're in the 3D view, where your cursor, is over the 3D viewport, if you hit F2, that's another very quick way that you can name something without having to go up to the
When did he
outliner
make
to
an
find your
icing?
object. So with our icing object selected, let's go into edit mode by hitting a tab. So we want the icing on the top, which means this bottom half of our mesh here is redundant. Don't need.
Hold on, I think I can do this. Did I skip a video? I don't think I did. Well, why would it wouldn't take a whole video to add icing. Hold on, what if I just do this? What I think it is just a copy of the donut. So I Control C, Control V. And then I don't. Yeah, that didn't work the way I thought it would. Don't point at me! Don't laugh at me! This should have worked. I didn't. No. No. Shh. Shh. No. Duplicate. Shift D. Why not Control C, Control V? Ah! Put her back. Okay, I'm ready.
Need it. So we want to delete it. So if we just dragged over the bottom here, you can see it looks like we've selected the bottom half of our donut, but if you were to move around, you would see, oh, we haven't actually. It's only
We're gonna do that
selected,
edge click
annoyingly,
thing, aren't we?
What is facing the camera? Where there's a mesh, it's not gone through the mesh. A lot of users find this annoying. I agree. Sometimes it seems like that would be the more default one that would make more sense. But anyway, don't want to argue. So if you want to select through a mesh, you can go up to here in your top navigation, toggle X-ray. If you turn that on, it's going to enable you to see through the mesh. And now when I drag over it, you can see that I have selected all through the mesh as I move around it.
I'll wait for
By
this
the way,
guy
you
to tell
might
me what to
find
do,
it
actually.
like when you're in this state, it's kind of hard to select. Like it's easy to kind of accidentally select what is above it, and depending on what you've got at your end, that might have happened already.
No, I'm really good at this.
So another way to easily just look directly on the side-on of your donut is to just click one of these like
what
in your
the heck?
gizmo here, instead of just dragging around. Just do a single click on either the green one or the red one,
golly
the X or the
gee.
Y. And now we're in that state. You can see it's flattened it, so it's put you in orthographic mode, which actually you can toggle to at any time, just over there, which just makes it easier to just do a single, all the way through the mesh, select. All right. Okay. All right. So we want to delete that. So just hit the delete key. You get an extra option here of what do you want to delete: edges, faces. You want the vertices. That's everything. And now we have, if we go back to object mode, and then let's turn off toggle X-ray as well. And you can see it's working. You got half the donut on top of itself, but as you move around, you can see you get some flickering.
Yeah, I don't like it.
This flickering happens, and it's actually a very common. It's actually a good warning sign to you as an artist, because it means you've got faces on top of faces, and the 3D software doesn't know which face it wants to render, right? So it's like sometimes saying it's the front face, no, the back face, the front face, and there's no understanding. Sometimes you can actually spot it in TV shows and like VFX or like low budget stuff. You can see
I saw it in the Dream music video for The Mask.
Z fighting. That's what it's called, Z fighting, or Z fighting if you're not American. So what we want to do is we want to give thickness to our icing. So we can do that with a solidify modifier. So adding another modifier, make sure you've got your icing selected, not your donut. And then here where you've got add modifier, we're going to go generate, solidify. Okay. Now it's made it worse. It's actually added a thickness to our mesh there, but it's actually done it the wrong way. So it's with the normals.
Hold on, my cat wants attention. Kitty. Meow. Meow. Oh, that was such a sad meow. He's fine.
Trying to put the extra bit inside the donut. So we can change that by just changing the offset here in the solidifier settings. Just drag that all the way to 1. Some of you might have actually found that it was correct before, just depending on which way your normals were. If that's the case, keep it at -1, but everyone else keep it at 1.
Stupid.
We just want to make sure it's actually outside. Okay. Let's just increase the thickness a little bit too. Let's go, 0.025. That looks pretty good. And great, we've got what looks like
toaster.
a yarmulke on our donut. A perfectly straight edge little hat for our donut.
Yeah, what are we going to do about that?
So let's make this look more like icing. So the edge is wavy all the way around. So
we're going to go back into object mode?
We get into the fancy.
We're going to get back into object mode?
Because you're typing lots
Frick,
of
I hope we
keys.
get back into object mode.
Go into edit mode.
That's what I meant.
You can see straight away that we can't see the mesh, and that's because the solidify modifier is obstructing our view. These little boxes here, as I mentioned before, like this is to hide it from viewport. But if you want to just hide it from your edit mode, which is the state that we are in right now, the box next to it is the one that you uncheck, which means in object mode, when you're tabbed in object mode, you can still see it, but edit mode, it's it's temporarily hidden for you. So if I was to select one of these points here and move it down, you can see that it's working, but it would be, again, a lot of effort to go round and round and do these one by one. So we want to use that old familiar proportional
tool I had a feeling. I knew it.
Proportional editing on. And now, as I move it down, let's just lower the slider way down here, and then let's pull this down. Okay, now, we'll find issues. If we move to the side here, we can see the first issue we've discovered is that this is separating from our mesh here. And that's not what icing does. When it dribbles down,
it's not what it does. That's what fondant does. And there's no such thing as fondant on a donut. So what we want to do is snap, undo it a number of times, snap the vertices to our donut underneath it, right? So for that, we need to turn on snapping up here. Okay, now there are a number of ways to snap in Blender. The default way is increment, which just means the like the grid floor there. Like if you were to just like move it around, you can see it's just snapping to the grid floor. Not helpful. But we want to snap it to the face. Wait, I didn't see what it clicked.
Snapping to the grid floor. Not helpful. But we want to snap it to
the face. What? This project.
The face. And now with face snapping enabled, if we move this down, we can see, let's just look here, that the bottom bit is snapping to the face, but as you might have seen, the top bits, the rest of essentially what is inside of our circle of influence.
Oh my gosh. Roxy, you're a menace. Hi. Hi. Go! Leave! Take her away, I'm streaming! She's a menace.
This proportional editing, that's not being affected. Only the little point that we had selected was affected.
Yeah, what are we going to do about this?
That's not what we want either. Normally that would be enough, but in this particular case, we want to also snap individual elements too. And let's go face project. Now, when we pull this down...
That's what I clicked. Am I doing this right?
You should see that these are also no longer clipping through the donut. But still, we have issues. Why is that? Well, it is actually working correctly. We can see these are not going through the mesh. So why does it look like it is?
Yeah, why does it look like that?
Is that there's actually just not enough information here. So if we go side on, you can see, right, like we've got this point here, and then we've got another point down here, and then we've got this long stretch in between, right? So that means that this part of the donut, oh gosh, that goes that goes around like that is just not, there's nothing to snap it to, essentially. So what we need to do to fix this is just add more geometry. So these little vertices here, we need
subdivision
more of those vertices. So we can do that by actually using the subdivision surface modifier. Because although it is a modifier, you can apply the modifier.
I was going to say, is there a way to bake it?
Is adding geometry, so let's just apply it. So to apply it, we just click this little drop down here next to the modifier and then go apply. Now, if we, I mean, nothing should have changed from this view because the same information is being displayed. But in edit mode, you should now see exponentially more faces. Because here, where there was, one
actually,
face
mine looks
before,
pretty good.
You can see there's now a lot more. Right.
I'll still do the thing
4x.
so as to learn the thing.
Okay. So, now if we pull down, we should see it is snapping, and if we go into this mode, you can see that it's now conforming to the mesh in a much more snug way, because there's information there for it to use. Now this shading artifact here that we can see, this don't worry about that, we'll fix that in just a moment. But I need to
hold on. Okay. Wait, where'd my mesh go? I'm in edit mode. Where's my... Hello? Oh, good. It's not what I wanted. Help. Control Z said it's nothing. It's under the modified geometry? What? Why isn't my Control Z doing anything anymore? What's happened? But I can see that. Wait a second. Wait, now hold on. Now hold on just a second. Yes, okay, there it is, cool. Okay, and then...
Because I've shown you like 4 things that we need to enable for this to work. I got to show you one more. Because if I pull down and if I scroll up, you'll see something. Okay, if I was to click, we get this horrible problem here. And I've done this tutorial enough, and enough people have hit this issue that I need to call it out specifically, because it seems to be a big point that a lot of people just don't know where to go from. What's happened is if we use what's it called? The circle of influence for our proportional editing. If that is so high, it's actually high enough to reach the mesh on the other side of the donut. And then because we've got snapping, it's now projecting that, snapping it to the front, which is creating this like something that's a nightmare.
Okay, I understand the
fact,
issue.
it's easy just to start from scratch than to try to fix that. So if we want, sorry, there's a lot of noise. To fix this, we need to hide the part of the mesh that we don't want to be influenced by our proportional tool, right? So to do that, there is an easy way to do it. We can actually do it very precisely. So if with this middle bit of our donut here, if I just hold down Alt and then do a left click, as I mentioned before, that selects the ring, okay? And we could do that all the way up, but actually there's a little, I don't know if it's an Easter egg. It's kind of a cool tool that not many people know about. Control plus. That will enable the select more tool. And if you use control plus, control minus goes the other way, you can see that it's expanding out. So control plus will just like select the next vertex along a chain, roughly speaking. And you can see we can very quickly select all the parts of the mesh that we don't need, right? Very cool. By the way, if control plus doesn't work for you because you're on a laptop or something else, select more, less. You can also do it here. Anyways, to hide this part of the mesh, it's H. H for hide. So when you're in this state, it looks as though it's been deleted. It's very, sometimes you don't know where part of your mesh, and then you forgot that you've got hide turned on. If parts of your mesh are hidden and you want to bring it back, it's Alt H. So H to hide and then Alt H to bring it back. Or if you can't remember it for whatever reason, you can also find it. Okay, it's underneath mesh. There we go. Mesh. Reveal hidden or hide selected. Okay, so that's the other way. But you can get my keyboard shortcut. It's in the link. It's free. Just use that and then you won't forget a lot of these handy shortcuts. All right, so now finally, after all that, after 4 different ways
can we do make frosting?
To explain, we can now take part of this mesh and drag it down.
Yes!
And it will work correctly. Haha. So now we get to now finally be an artist and go like, what sort of, edge or what sort of icing do I want to make this look like? So what I'm doing here, by the way, is I'm hitting G to pull it down, and then I'm just single middle click, and then because my cursor is closest to the Z axis, it's now snapping to the Z axis. So that's why I mentioned before that it's really handy. You don't have to think of the letter and type it in. You just go in the general direction you want to go and then just tap
the middle click
wrong? Of the, which is your scroll wheel, right? Middle click. It's such a weird button that you have to call it out.
Snaps,
it's the scroll wheel button. Because it's like no other application seems to use it besides scrolling. But Blender is like, no, we're going to use it for like 90% of the operations is going to be middle click. But anyways, as you can see, I'm not paying particularly too much attention to it, but I'm just making a wavy looking shape around it. You might also want to make some bits that go the opposite direction, right? And then maybe pull, so you've got like big shapes as well as medium shapes and some small shapes. Big, medium, small. It's the recipe for appealing design. Big, medium, and small details.
It's true.
But I digress. By the way, I should mention, if you're stuck, don't feel bad, because there was certainly a lot of finickiness going on with this donut here, and we're definitely in the steep part of that curve at the moment. Do make use of my Discord if you are stuck. I created it literally so that people could get instantaneous help. I don't have any other benefit for it, so it's there so that you can find help. Link is in the description.
No, I didn't mean to do that.
There's a donut help chat room where you can post screenshots of your problem and then people can help each other out. So do make use of that. Now, our shading issue here, this darkened edge, is actually going to fix itself by fixing another issue. So it's a 2 birds, 1 solution kind of problem. This 90-degree edge here for this icing, not ideal. Everybody knows that a real icing would create like a rounded edge there, right? So we can fix that
Pina,
just
you
by
never
adding
do
another
anything wrong. I'm
subsurf
glad to hear
modifier.
someone
Because
still
you might
saying
remember I
that.
mentioned, like, yes, if you've got 3 vertices, it'll create like another vertice here and another vertice here, but it'll also like round it out. It'll pull this one back.
This is bad.
So you
Who
end up
let
with
that
a
happen?
rounded corner. So right here in your modifier stack, we're going to go add modifier, generate subdivision surface. Now, the order of these does matter, okay? You want your solidifier at the top and the subdivision after it. So Blender works top to bottom, and it's important it's in this way because you want the extrusion to happen first, and then in order to round that edge, it has to happen as a secondary step. So solidify on top, subdivision underneath. Now, whilst we're here and we're looking at the close-up, nice little profile of this edge of this icing, another issue to call out, you can see it's got this this shape that goes around. Yes, so far so good, but then it goes up, and it's like, it'll be better if it went around and then tucked in and touched the edge of it, because that would look more like real.
Wait, did I miss something? Hold on, he might have been talking about something important.
By real icing would create like a rounded edge there, right?
Yeah, I think I've missed that completely.
So we can fix that just by adding another subsurf modifier.
Oh, what?
You might remember I mentioned, like, yes, if you've got 3 vertices, it'll create like another vertice here and another vertice here, but it'll also like round it out. It'll pull this one back, so you end up with a rounded corner.
Oh, just what you do. You just
right here in your modifier stack, we're going to go add modifier, generate subdivision surface.
Generate subdivision surface.
The order of these does matter, okay? You want your solidifier at the top and the subdivision after it. So Blender works top to bottom, and it's important it's in this way because you want the extrusion to happen first, and then in order to round that edge, it has to happen as a secondary step. So solidify on top, subdivision underneath. Now, whilst we're here and we're looking at the close-up, nice little profile of this edge of this icing, another issue to call out, you can see it's got this this shape that goes around. Yes, so far so good, but then it goes up, and it's like, it'll be better if it went around and then tucked in and touched the edge of it, because that would look more like real liquid wood.
Yeah.
So
we're not making
by
fondant donuts
just changing
here.
one of the settings in the solidify modifier. It's not one of those things that you would figure out or know where it is. It's just over time you learn where some of these settings are. But essentially here, the edge data. So we want to change the edge data to say that before you do the solidify step, add a crease on the inner part right here. If we increase this all the way to 1, it now creates a sharpened edge just on that inner part there. So the rest of it is a smoothed edge, but the middle one, there's a crease, so it's making a sharp edge there. And it just gives it's just a little bit more realism. Just looks a little bit closer to what you would imagine real icing would do. Okay, now for the cool bit. All right, so if you look at reference and donuts,
it's been cool
right?
This whole
You've
time.
got these little wavy bits, but where the icing is really liquidy, it'll often break off from this wave here, and it'll create a trail that goes down underneath the donut, right? It just sort of drips all the way down.
I don't like how...
Bump the microphone. So we can do that. But not the way we were doing it before. If we just took one of these points and then like dragged it all the way down,
we're gonna extrude, aren't we?
Be enough information there, right? You can see you just get this like stretched look, and it doesn't look great. Okay, so essentially we need to give it more information.
Thankfully, I'm very used to like hierarchy because of Live 2D. That's another reason I want to learn Blender. I'm sick of Live 2D. Look at my big brain! I could do so many things! Sorry. Yeah, I decided that I've gotten as much as I can out of Live 2D, and I'd rather just make things in 3D now. That's another one of my motivations for learning Blender. Is it alright if I give you some advice after this Blender stream? Yeah, I'm sure at some point I'm just gonna, like, freestyle everything, so... For now, it's donut time. Maybe I'll load up, like, a low poly model tutorial or something after, but we'll see.
Information, and we couldn't just do it by like adding more and more subdivision surfaces. We need to actually like break this shape here and create a new shape that goes down. So we need to extrude.
Yes!
So if I select this vertice and then the one next to it by holding down Shift, I don't think I mentioned it, but yeah, if you want to select 2 things at once, it's Shift select. anyways, so if we select 2 vertices like that, we want to extrude it downward by hitting E. So
Me what I know.
It's similar to G in that you're in a placement state now. So where do you want to place this? So I'm going to move it down to, like about
genuinely
there. Where I
incredible,
want the
literally
trail
everything
to
else,
stop.
so I can't wait to see you
And I'm
make
just gonna
absolutely
do
awesome 3D.
click,
Ah,
click,
thank
click,
you, Solar.
And it's now placed it there. Now,
That's very nice
it's
of you.
hard to see it, but if I just switch to wireframe, you can see what it's doing. So it's created this breakaway shape here, an entirely new face that's completely separate to what we've got there currently. And what this means is if we go to object mode, you can see it's not just like continuing this form here, it's pulled it down, right? Which is exactly what we want. And in fact, I wanted to go even further than that. So I'm going to select those 2 vertices, and I'm going to pull it down again. And I'll do it again.
That's good
and the
shape.
reason I've done this 1, 2, 3 is that this detail here is important so that it conforms to the shape of the donut. Because if there's not enough, you're going to have that.
How is there a way I can
that showed
recenter
you
my
earlier.
scroll again?
So that's pretty good. And now,
Because you can see I'm anchored somewhere else.
Originally in my earlier versions of the donut, I only did like 1 of these, but then I noticed that in the render, the final render, it's often the most interesting part of the donut. So now I'm thinking,
Numpad period.
just do it.
Why are you shouting?
Just add the bit that looks cool. Add more of that. So here, so wherever there's essentially like a big dip is what I'm looking for. Like where the liquid would sort of build up and then like the surface tension there would be just too much, and then it would break away. And it would go down. Down.
Why are you being bad?
Like that.
No.
And we'll do another one here, why not? Like that, and down.
That one's fine, but that's too even.
Oh, that's pretty good. Haha. Lovely. So that concludes finally this heavy part of the tutorial. So if you're ready to watch the next part, I hope you're not giving up. You can click there on the screen and I'll see you there. Make sure you hit subscribe as well if you haven't.
I'm not done making drips.
A large number of you don't, but if you want to see more Blender tutorials, that's what you need to do.
Hold on. More drips to do. And then lumpier bits to complement the drips. Yes. Yes. Excellent. Hey! Get back in line with the others. Now that's interesting. I didn't authorize this. Whoops. Oh, something's happening over there. I really screwed up. No! Uh-oh. Oh, no. That's fine. No one's gonna see that. How good is my PC? No comment. At this point in time, that's irrelevant. If we're rendering next step though, no, this is sculpting. The reason I don't use scroll wheel axis locking is because once your cursor gets too close, when you finally start moving, it'll go crazy to try to spastically decide which axis to lock to. I'm pretty used to using the scroll wheel for other things. So I'll probably just stick with that.
Congrats.
Thank you.
You didn't give up. You made it to part 4. You clicked on the next part of the video. There's always like
I've only been here for an hour.
Each video as you go down. So you're here. Well done. Thumbs up. As you can tell by the title of this video, we're going to learn about sculpting. But first, I should call out, if you have a problem with your mesh now, those problems can be amplified the further you go along. So it helps to do a technical check now, make sure you don't have any problems before we move along. So to look for it, go into edit mode. And first of all, by the way, if you can't see that middle part of your mesh, it's because you remember we temporarily hit it. So you can bring it back by hitting Alt-H.
Me personally,
that will bring back
I put
the rest
that
of the mesh.
crap back.
And then we're looking for issues with the mesh, like right here. So this is a really common problem following this tutorial, because when you're projecting parts of the mesh, if it was like side on to the camera, it will project it that way, and then you can have like overlapping parts of the mesh. So that creates this artifact here,
and then if
which will be exaggerated when we add more detail to it.
If I simply
so
just
we just want to drag that back. So turn on snapping,
and nothing has happened and nothing is wrong.
Turned off, and then I'm just going to move this back over here just to move each of these points back. Another very common problem is you might have parts that have separated from your mesh. Now you can quickly fix this if you just like selected the point and then
that can't be good. I'm deleting that.
G to move it. When you're in that state, it's also snapping it to the mesh.
Who are you?
Now you could
Why
do that
can't
all
I
the way
select
along, like
you?
Select, tap G, then click. Select, tap G, then click. But that's anybody's got time for that. Let's make Blender do the work for us. So there's a tool that's just designed for this, and it's called the Shrink Wrap Modifier. So over to our trusty modifier stack, we're going to add yet another modifier.
Hold on, no, we got to fix this.
It's not under Generate, it's under Deform, which we haven't accessed before. New modifiers. Ooh, the one we're looking for is Shrink Wrap.
No, hold on. Where did those guys come from? I did not authorize that. Stupid drippy donut. You know what? I need to extrude one more. It's not very... That's not a good extrude. In fact, I'm undoing that. It was better before.
And first of all, hasn't done anything because so
okay,
there's a tool
Shrink Wrap.
It's just designed for this, and it's called the Shrink Wrap Modifier. So over to our trusty modifier stack, we're going to add yet another modifier. So add modifier. It's not under Generate, it's under Deform, which we haven't accessed before.
Shrink Wrap.
New modifiers. Ooh, the one we're looking for is Shrink Wrap. And first of all, hasn't done anything because it needs to know what the target is. What is the mesh that we're shrink wrapping our mesh to? So with this little eyedropper tool, you can see when you've clicked it,
we're
my
side
cursor's
chaining
changed to an eyedropper. And now if I hover over objects, I got the name of it. So I want to click on the object that is the
eyedropper tool for this is crazy.
Now it's snapped to the donut and made it worse. Why, Andrew, would you make us do that? Remember, the order of your modifier stack matters. So the reason this happened is because we've done it
Fix
after
it. Help me.
So if it works top to bottom, we want the shrink wrap to happen before any of the
before
extrusion
solidify.
So now that it's there, it's correct. And this is what it looks like before, and this is after. And it's subtle, right? And you'll probably see this across your mesh, like little subtle changes where maybe it just separated off the mesh, which wasn't quite a perfect alignment, but this will just correct that. So great, we don't need this here now. We can just apply it because it was just a once-off operation, and now all our mesh should be perfectly fine. And assuming you haven't got any other issues going on, again, make sure you use the wrong button, Discord.
Maybe.
If you do have issues and you need someone
did.
to help,
okay.
make use of the community. So use that and post your problem, and I'm sure people can help out. All right, so we want to do some sculpting. Now, why do we want to sculpt?
I'd like to sculpt.
Because if you look at reference photos of donuts with icing on them, you'll see that icing is obviously a liquid, and liquid does weird things. One of the weird things that it does is that it will pool in certain areas. It's not like a uniform amount all the way on it. So the most obvious being like at the end of this trail here, there would be more that would accumulate at the end there. And I think the reason for it is that because it's a viscous fluid, once it runs out of enough fluid, there's not enough to kind of push it forward, but there's enough for it to build up.
Like
so you would have like a build-up here on each of these ends, but you would also have build-ups all along the edge.
True.
And you can see it in reference photos. Like here, we've got this like clear, was it like a glaze?
This guy donuts.
And basically, the areas there where it looks whiter, that's a thickened area. So we essentially want to replicate that across our donut. So we can't do that currently. Like if you go into edit mode, we don't have any mesh to work with because the extrusion, the thickened part, is happening via this modifier. So we need to make the modifier real. So again, we're just going to apply it. Drop down, apply. Now in edit mode, we have that part of the mesh to work with. So we could, if you wanted to, come in here and like select the points that you want to add, you know, a bulge to, and then very carefully come in and tap G. And
I have a feeling you're going to tell me a trick for this, sir.
Pull this out, right? And go like that and go, yep, there's a little bulge there.
He's gonna fix this.
First
He's gonna
select a point,
give me a little
then
trick.
tap a key to move it. It's very tedious. So that's really like you just need to use another tool to do the job. So edit mode is one tool, and it's good for like very precise things when you need to get precise things. But for more like organic shapes,
okay, something's happening right
that's
here.
That's where sculpting.
Wait, no,
in.
hold on. Clearly, I've messed up. What? Why are you different? Why is this different? Is it just like extruded out? So I think it's just literally extruded out. Well, I can't tell. Go into X-ray. I think I made accidental extrusions. Well, how could that be? X-ray. Well, okay. Alt click. Delete. There's more. Delete. Now she's clean and pretty and beautiful. Okay. Now nothing is wrong. Everything's nice and pretty.
So
and he
at the
can keep
top
teaching
here,
us.
we've just been flipping between object and edit mode, but the one underneath
True,
it
we have
is
been.
sculpt mode. So
I was wondering
when we go
about
into
this.
that mode, you'll see that we have on the left-hand side all of these tools that appear. And I mean, this isn't a sculpting like tutorial, really. We're just really going to scratch the surface, but they do different things, different sculpting things. Like let's just use the default tool here. Can't really see much happening. Let's just turn up the strength and the size of it. Like it just pulls out that part of it. And even that quick little one stroke, imagine if you had to select each of those points and pull them out one by one. Like that's why this tool is the appropriate tool for this kind of job, right? Because it's very quickly going to enable us to add lots of complex shape. Very cool. So the tool that we're looking for is actually, it's this one, the inflate brush, which is just conveniently the I hotkey, inflate. By the way, if you want to change the size of brushes in Blender, I mean, you've got these ones here, you've also got the strength slider here, but there is a hotkey just to change the size of the brush with F. So F to change the size of the brush, and you just pull out with your cursor to make it bigger, and then pull in to reduce it, and then do a single left click to confirm. You can also change the strength with Shift F. So Shift F, pull out, click, and then Shift F, pull in, click. Anyways, so if I was to draw on this, you can see that I'm inflating that edge. I could also inflate here, but you very quickly realize, like, look at that. Look at that. What is that, right? The eye is going to see that. It's a pro tip. Your eye is like, if you're going low res, don't go low res for things that are round, because your eye is very quickly going to spot low poly things. Actually, just last night I was playing Spider-Man, the Miles Morales one, and there was like this coffee cup that was on a table, and then you walk, and it looks fine, like as a background asset, but then part of it, the mission, you had to go up and read something on the table, and you had to get close to this coffee cup, and it was like 8 vertices. It just looked like almost looked like a nut on a wheel of a car, right? Just like that jagged. So, anyways. What I'm saying is this is a rounded form, so we need more information. We need more detail to sculpt on. The reason this is jagged and the reason there's not enough detail here is that even though we have a subsurf modifier, a subdivision modifier, it's applying it after we do the sculpt mode. So when you're in sculpt mode, it's still just using your raw mesh here, and then it does this as a secondary step. So if we want to sculpt into this detail, we need to apply this. So I'm going to use more than one. I'm going to use two because I want to have even more detail. So importantly, by the way,
I'm not going to do that. I'm okay with low poly.
Even 2 levels here, it will always use just the viewport. So your render amount here could be whatever, but when you hit apply, it's just going to apply whatever is in the viewport. So I'm going to go 2 levels and hit apply. Now look at this. Whoo.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
16 times the detail because we had level 1, which would be 4x.
I'm just going to keep
4x multiply,
adding
and then
weight.
4x of 4x, 16.
My icing.
So we have 16 times the vertices.
I'm going to keep inflating.
So now when we go into sculpt mode, look at it now. When we sculpt, look at that. So much more room to work with and much more fun. So now that I'm in that state, I'm going to just do little circles with this brush on each of these points here. And the reason I'm doing like little circles like this is that by default, the stroke state is, space. You can switch it to airbrush if you want, and then you can just click and hold it there. But I find that to actually be like harder to control. So I just keep it in space mode and then just do little
how
circles.
Did he do that?
And then that enables you to just
stroke, space, stroke, stroke, where, stroke, where, stroke. What did he have it at before? What?
If you want, and then you can just click and hold it there. But I find that to actually be like harder to control. So I just keep it in space mode and then just do like little circles.
Oh.
And then that
No, I
enables
wanted
you
it
to
to
just
be
kind of
whatever.
continue adding more pressure as you move your mouse. So a little circle like that. And there you go. Very quickly, already we have a more interesting looking shape.
It's
across
true.
it. So another brush, another tool, I guess you call. Is it a brush? Or I think it's technically they're called brushes. But anyways, another one that you use all the time is grab, and conveniently it's the hotkey G. And what this does is just like pushing clay with your finger. It's like, It's really cool. And the reason I'm doing this is I'm actually just exaggerating the design. Because that is what makes appealing design. It's exaggerating the addition and subtraction that you see in a shape, even though in the real world you might not see this like tapered thing like that. Because it's got this bulbous end, you want to draw more attention to that kind of globule at the end there. And to do that, yeah, if you just make this a little bit tapered using this tool, it can do that. And we get to learn about a new tool in Blender, which is the whole point of this tutorial. So, yeah. All right, pull this around, Just click and drag. I could change the shape, size of the brush with F. And you've got more time than me, so maybe make this better than what I'm doing really quickly. But just get, generally a shape
Okay, your
like
blobs
that,
look better than mine, but I'm not
a little
subdividing, so
nicer.
pop off,
Okay,
sir.
so
I'm happy with what I have.
Let's do that raised edge all the way around
I
the
don't like this
rim
one,
of
actually.
this. Now, in previous versions of this tutorial, I said just use the inflate brush and then just like draw across it. The problem with this is that this is so imprecise, and you can accidentally like draw over another bit.
It is what it
and
is.
then you look at it side on, and you get these like noticeable like divots across the donut, and it's not very. It's very hard to do because you keep like accidentally clicking off it and then on it, and you get this like jagged like dig. It's not very appealing. The point is, so let's go back. We can learn about another tool. It's another excuse to learn about another tool, and that tool is called the mask tool. So it's actually in the list here, but I
That's
never
a lot of tools.
remember what it is. It's you just hit M for mask. And it's this one. And what this enables you to do is, if you just draw on it, you get this grade shape, right? And then when you're using another tool, like say you switch to the inflate brush now, and if you draw over this, let me just increase this, Yeah, if you drew over this, you can see it's applying an inflation to everything except the area that is dark.
I don't like how his
and that's how you can create like, you know, a skin lesion on a zombie or something like that.
I don't like that.
So a mask is very useful in sculpting, used a lot. And we're going to use it in just this case. What we're going to do is mask out just this area along the rim there.
Well,
and then we're going to apply a constant inflate value to just the area that we've masked.
It's a little too late for me.
So first use the mask tool. Mask, and it doesn't really make sense to use like a half opaque mask, so we're going to set the strength all the way to 1, and then I'll use a brush size about here. So essentially, where do I want the inflation? Like, do I want this much inflation on the rim? No, probably something about
that
here.
Would have been better
and then
to
I'm
do.
just going to paint,
but I jumped the gun.
A darkened value all the way across it. I just want to make sure that it's, you know, fairly even. It doesn't have to be completely perfect, but fairly even across it.
I'll remember this for next time.
I obviously don't want it to be in this part because that, you know, the liquid has flowed all the way down and it's broken the trail and it's gone down there. So I don't want any raised area there. And again, I apologize if this was like tedious, but it's a way to learn Blender piece by piece. Okay. Hey, speaking of which, I forgot. With the sculpt tools in Blender, for whatever reason, it has assumed by default that you might want to sculpt on the other side of your mesh. So you can see I've got this smear here, and that's because somewhere I was painting over here, I went through the mesh and it painted on the other side of the mesh.
Why would it do that?
Over there. Very annoying. So I can undo it. It's just easier than like repainting that whole thing. And what you want to do with your mask tool is underneath brush, set it to front faces only. And that means when you paint, it should mean that as you draw, it could still happen, just be careful, but it should happen less. It shouldn't happen like on the opposite side of the same mesh. Anyways, it should happen less. By the way, I didn't call it out because it's not essential, but if you do ever want to isolate and only see the selected object, / is the isolation mode. So / on the number pad or the actual normal keyboard will pull you in and out of that state. Anyway, so now with the mask brush, with front faces only enabled, I can paint along it, and it should happen less.
All right, let me see what this guy comes up
Areas with like so you can't paint on it. We obviously want to only paint on the area that we mask. So we want to invert it by just hitting Control-I, same hotkey as Photoshop, etc. And then, obviously, if we went to the inflate brush and then we just painted, like, yes, we're only now painting onto that area, but it also doesn't solve our problem of like different values across it. So we want to apply a uniform inflation on just these areas. So there is a tool in the sculpt tools.
Let me see.
Called, where is it? Mesh filter. So I will be honest, it's probably the laziest implementation of a tool in Blender. Like, mesh filters, they're not really well documented. You kind of have to just learn how they work. But unlike all these other brushes here, the way this one works is it's applying a uniform value to the entire mesh. So it doesn't actually matter where you click on the mesh, it's going to apply it. And it's applying what is in the filter types listed here. So if I just click, this is the other thing you have to learn. If I drag to the right, I'm inflating. If I drag to the left, I'm deflating and sort of subtracting the opposite direction. You just kind of have to learn that that's how this specific tool works. My theory is, by the way, to go on a rant, ZBrush's user experience and interface is so arcane, so badly hodgepodge together.
I don't care about ZBrush.
Ideas over the last 2 decades.
The Blender tutorial. So
they're like, hey, yeah, the filter tools, yeah, they're not the easiest to understand, but at least we're not ZBrush. That's my theory. It's my working theory I'm going with. But anyways, point is now that we're in this, you could see we're applying a uniform value to everything. Hooray for us. I might also, I'm going to set the strength of this to 0.1, and that just means that as I move the cursor, it's applying less of a value for the movement, so I can use smaller movements. The other thing, though, is this is a little like, it almost looks, if we go into object mode, it looks like a tube almost around the edge of it. It's not very nice. It basically, the edge that we've got here is too hard.
Mine is just
so we
a
can
much
smooth out that edge by using
is.
mask, smooth mask. Okay. Now, if we use the inflate just tilts to the right a little bit. I'm just going to go with that. Let's go object mode and see how that looks.
Okay, I think he's just going to be talking about this till the end of the video.
And the smooth tool, which also you can access at any point when you're in sculpt mode just by holding down shift, and it'll temporarily invoke the smooth tool, and it will use the value that is on the smooth tool. So you'll be in this mode, and then you hold down shift, and it'll actually not use this value, but the value that's on the smooth tool. Again,
I'm working on
ZBrush is the competitor, so some things are a little weird here. Anyways, so it's a little too high. Just turn it down, and now we've got a nice value. And I'm just smoothing this out just to clear up some of the artifacting. All the way.
I don't have any artifacting. Mine's perfect.
The mesh. Ba-doop, boop, boop. And that's it. Lovely. Hey, if you've made it this far, 3D is in the cards. It's for you, because we've done some fairly complex things. So if you're a beginner and you're just getting started in Blender, congrats, because it is a steep learning curve, but you have learned some very complex modeling and some sculpting. So congrats, you've made it this far.
It's in the cards. Shading. 3D is in my future. No! Geometry nodes. Sprinkle. Render. Let me see. Shading might be in... maybe my computer can handle that. We'll see.
This is where we finished at the end of the last part, and we are ready for some materials. Before we continue, do a check over though, because I looked inside my donut and I saw this. A bit more milky, but for now this is good. Now we want to typically material. You can see we've got a lamp, and it's lighting our donut in a very depressing, cold gray. So let's give it a material down here.
Can't wait for you to have to learn how to make transparent clothing in 3D. Okay, I have a question about that. Well, actually, okay. So I could cheat, and I could paint on, like, a texture, right? That's just, like, only the highlights, right? And then the transparency, but are you referring to shaders? That might be something else. I mean, you can't see it on my hood because I didn't apply it on my hood because it was too much work, but my jacket has shaders, like, kind of, in a way. The light reflects at it on a certain angle, and then it's visible for that angle only. I'm learning. Shush.
The little material tab, and then we're going to hit new. So just like before, the one thing we're going to change is the color.
Wait, where's the material tab?
Down here, the little...
I see. Is that not the right material? Texture. Material. It is material.
Material tab, and then we're going to hit new. So just like before, the one thing we're going to change is the color. Let's make it a nice pink.
Okay, that took a long time to load. The color. I do like a nice pink donut. Did I click the wrong? Why is mine not going pink? Hey.
Color. And that looks pretty good.
Why aren't you pink?
Other value that you typically want to change for a lot of objects.
Oh, okay. I see. I need to get out of here. Object. No! But the viewport... Where's my pink? Where? Settings. Oh, the render button's on the top right. They get a pink donut. I'm gonna get less saturated, probably. But lighter and cuter. That's good. That's pretty. Could be blue. No, I'm a pink icing truther.
Is the roughness value. So you can see the further I go all the way to the left-hand side, the more it becomes a mirror. So all the way at 0 is basically a mirror. And then all the way to the right is your like most porous object, like a brick or something like that. Basically something that looks like it doesn't have a reflection, although everything does. The roughness is just merely dissipating that reflection everywhere, so it appears as though it doesn't. But anyways, so we're going to go with like a 0.3, something like that. It's pretty good. And then for the base of our donut, we're going to give it another material, and let's go with a nice orangey yellow, which we will change later on, so it won't matter anyway. But that's good. Great. Look at us. We've got a donut. By the way, we'll add some subsurface SSS later on to make this look a little bit more milky, but for now this is good. Now we want to put our donut onto a marble countertop. So first of all, we need that countertop as a separate object. So Shift A, and like the one we're looking for is again under Mesh, and we're going to go with a plane.
I need to change my donut. No, I pushed play. I need to change my donut color. There's more work to be done. Base color. Slightly more saturated. That's a nice donut color, I think. Okay. And this one is rougher. Roughness. I'll just leave it there.
Square that's literally made of plane. So A, and the one we're looking for is again under Mesh, and we're going to go with a plane. So a plane is just a square that's literally made up of 4 vertices. It's the simplest object, but the most versatile that you use it all over the place. I'm going to make this look a little bit bigger. So let's just scale that out with S and then click. Okay, so we want to make our donut rest onto the countertop. So if I selected my donut base and moved it up, well, there's a problem, right? We need to have both of these move together. So if you want to have one object basically attached to another object while still being its own separate object, you parent it. So the way we parent it is, first of all, you select the object that you want to follow the other object, so the child, and then you select the parent. So holding down Shift, I'm going to now click on the donut base, and then to parent, it's Control P. Okay, or again, if at any time you don't know what it is, just hit F3 for search, and then we can just type in parent. Now, by the way, with parent, you get a number of options here. The one you actually want is keep transform. If you just do object, it means if you've ever moved the object, like off its base or whatever.
Now hold on just a second. Sometimes my hotkeys don't work. You lied to me. You were like pop. My cursor position. Huh? How is it all you guys know about Blender? What kind of conspiracy?
Like that, it'll then like clear its position. So it's actually not the one you want most of the time. So it's keep transform.
Never mind, I did the wrong one.
I've done that, if you've done it in the correct order, you should be able to select the base.
One compound word. Minecraft. Look at this nerd saying compound word. I haven't heard that word since I was in like kindergarten, bro. Sorry. It's true though. Get in the locker.
And then move it, and the icing should go with it. If it doesn't, it means it's...
How do I move it again? Wait, this button. No! Just you. Yeah. I can't even see my plane. whatever. That's probably fine. Yeah.
It's probably parented the other way. So again, make sure the object you want to follow the other one is selected first, and then the parent is selected last. Okay.
I'm a genius.
So now I'm going to move that up along its z-axis. So G, and then just a middle tap and pull it up till it's resting on my counter. Haha, lovely. Now don't worry about this looking like cartoonishly bad in terms of realism. I'm going to show you a button later on, which is just going to make this look phenomenally realistic. That's going to be in some later parts. But for now, this is fine just whilst we work and piece the scene together. So for our countertop here, we need to give it a new material. And then underneath the base color, you can select not just a color by clicking the color, but the little dot next to it, that little yellow thing doesn't look like a button. It is. Ooh. If you click that, you get this this pop-up or pop-down in this point, which just gives you a number of options. Wow. And the one that we're looking for is image texture. So essentially, it's replacing that import from a flat color to an image texture property.
It's going to bring up my
files.
Now
black, and it's asking you, what image texture? So we need an image texture. Now we could go to just Google Images and just find any old marble texture, download that. The problem usually with textures on the web is that what most people call a texture is not ideal for 3D. Most textures are good for websites, but for 3D, we need extra information to tell the 3D software how the material property looks. Like, how does it reflect light? What do the bumps look like across the surface? And all that information is never available on these sites. So to find those textures, you have to go to a separate dedicated website. And the website that I recommend is
not doing
Polygon.
All that.
And the reason I recommend it is because it's mine. It's my website.
Oh, shut up.
That's why I recommend it. No, I started it 8 years ago because I was pretty dissatisfied with the quality of the texture websites that were available at the time. So I used my YouTube money to invest in a team and some high-tech equipment. We went out into the world and we scanned stuff.
Oh yeah, I'm not rendering on stream, don't worry.
And over the years, we've grown it to include models and HDRIs as well.
Absolutely not rendering.
Stuff is paid, but we also have a free range, and obviously we're going to be subtle, but we'll come through when we do the render. So back into Blender, where we've got that image texture, we're going to click on open. Then navigate to where you unzipped it, and then just click on the one that ends with COL in the name, and then just hit open. And here it is.
That looks really great, actually.
What the heck? It looks great up close. Only problem is, of course, look at that reflection. So bland, so fake. And as I mentioned before, fake is the
real-time
enemy,
renderer
and
might
you
be
need
taxing
to
is what I'm saying.
squash
Yeah, I'm not doing
just adding variants.
that
So that's
on
where our
stream.
roughness map is going to come in. And while we could try to add it in here, this section on the right-hand side, it's actually not where you do most of your material work, because this is kind of like a simplified, dumbed-down version. It doesn't really... It gets a little bit complicated when you try and add too many things to it, because there's like too many menus and drop downs and all that kind of stuff. So instead, if you go to your shading tab at the top of the screen there, this will change the layout of the screen to something completely different we haven't seen before. And lots of windows, actually too many. I never actually need this one on the right-hand side. So where...
That's scary. The nodes scare me. Bro, are we outside? Okay, no shading, no shading. Back to modeling. Wait. Where were we before? Layout. Back to layout. I know that the people, everyone's like, oh, the nodes. For me, though, I'm frightened. What else does this man have to say?
And you need to squash it by just adding variants. So that's where our roughness map is going to come in. And while we could try to add it in here, this section on the right-hand side, it's actually not where you do most of your material work, because this is the layout of the screen to something completely different we haven't seen before. And lots of windows, actually too many. I never actually need this one on the right-hand side. So where you just mouse over where you've got the divider, and then just right-click and then say join areas. And then you want to join it to the left to close it. And then I'll do the same here, because I've never needed those on the left
I
hand side.
might do
So I've
that
just got
later.
my view at the top here, and then this one here. And the reason, by the way, this looks
I just want to stick in
different,
Blender for
than
now.
what we had before is because this is the material preview, but you can change it back to what we had before by clicking that. So material preview, by the way, it's the same. It's a rendered mode, but it's using lights, a different light setup. Basically, just an HDRI, which is like a fake kind of light and reflection map, just so that you can quickly preview materials. And really, you could use either or. They both kind of show the material, but yeah, let's use this one. Okay, but the bit that we're looking for is here. So this section here is your node setup, and it's actually an exact duplicate of what we did over here, because this on the right hand side is the simplified version. If you're just doing like a quick change, you might want to use this, but over here this is what's actually happening to it underneath the hood, right? So you can see as I change this on the right hand side, that is also changing there, so they are linked. So the way nodes work is basically a left to right function. So we start over here with our image texture, it goes into our shader, which is the material for this plane, and then it comes out into our roughness so that we don't have got some detail there, but it doesn't look quite right. Something is not going right.
Man, that's really cool.
When you add an image texture,
but this might be all off-stream kind of stuff.
Little tiny bumps, okay? So bumps are in a place.
What is this?
When you're in a forward side, this
I'm scrubbing through now.
Around the rim. And I mean, really, this is just image doesn't for a nice yellowy color like that. And by the way, make sure, I don't know why I said it like that.
Oh, you texture painting.
Though, because it's important to understand. Just like, in fact, I might even go a little bit softer. And that way
you hate share. Just look up the video.
Across it.
It's there, you can do it.
It's very forgiving because we've got icing that's going to go over. But there we go. So now.
Okay. I think probably the rest of this is for off-stream Pinna. But look at this thing. I mean, I'm pretty proud of this. I'm pretty happy with it. I made a donut. I made the Blender donut. It's real. I did this. Look at her. A donut. Missing some sprinkles. I will learn that off stream, maybe. I'll do some off stream learning. Quiz time! This isn't school. What am I gonna name her? Homer. In honor of the cat from Forspoken. That's all. Make a basic house shape. What? Modeling. This stuff is familiar. I've done this stuff before, I think. Wait, hold on. Well, I can just do frickin' I add the cube. That's awkward. Everything. Oh, well, thanks everyone for watching. There goes my donut. I didn't save the entire time. There's an autosave file. Okay. I will end here for today, though I'm getting quite sleepy. Maybe we'll do some more Blender shenanigans on stream sometime soon. Nice seeing you again, Pinna. I haven't been around in months. It was awesome to see you. I also haven't been around in months. Don't worry, it's not just you. I will not raid out, so please go find another streamer that you like, and tell them I said hi. I'm too tired to raid and say hi to people. Alrighty. Thanks everyone for hanging out. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.